As we sit today, can the judiciary say confidently that Kenyans trust them to be fair?
Kenyans trust policemen to be more fair than the judiciary. How worse can I paint the picture? You see, the police service or force, as it should be, because they are no longer the service, has always topped the corruption index. We've inverted so that the one topping is the judiciary. Nobody trusts it. And I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, whenever a client walks into my office, my first question is, can't we find a way of talking with the other party to resolve this matter? Because I am doubtful, despite my 22 years of an illustrious practice, that the court process will give us reprieve for two reasons. One, there is delay in the process. And I'll give you a very perfect example. Under the civil procedure, the intention is a case will be determined within 12 months of filing. There is no case in this country that is determined within 12 months. Of course, there are those before that notorious judge in Milimani who will find they have been determined within 6 months, and the 400 million that was an issue has been released. You get it? That's number one. There's delayed justice. Number two, you're not even certain whether this matter will be determined justiciably. One of my grandfathers left a big estate, almost actually 1,000 acres, with so much money in his bank account. So the other day, my elderly grandmother told me, look, my husband, come and help me resolve this thing. So I was at home in Kitale over the weekend, and I was telling my aunties and uncle, you guys, the 12 of you, you want one person to determine your case. It won't happen. One of you will be dissatisfied. Dissatisfied because the judge will either be incompetent, or I know one of you 12 here, because you're wealthy people, will go and bribe the judge. So me, a former president of the Law Society, a distinguished lawyer, is advising my grandmother, my uncle, and my aunties not to leave the matter in the hands of a judge. You get it? Yeah. It is this bad. I don't trust the judicial system. How will you, Oronyango, Kamau, and Mwende, Salim, trust the judicial system? It's failed. And you see, the Savannah must ban. I've used this statement before. We need to ban this place. It doesn't matter even if it's I who is perceived to be the Pablo Escobar of this. Some people say that Havy is a bandit. I really don't care. I don't need to be a good person. Good people were buried last week. Bad people are here to deal with the judiciary. We need to clean up this place.
You know, as a layman, when I hear you say the things you say, my question always goes to, okay, now, this is the field in which he plies his trade, so he must know. Then I look at some of the judgments by someone like Chacha Mwita, and I say, but the judiciary works. He has gone and looked and said, you know, this funding model, folks. Sorry. So are we saying that where we see the rot is in the commercial courts where lots of money are involved, are we saying that those like you who are propagating and seeking to find a solution to a problem which, as you say, is endemic, are yourselves without fault, that we can't point fingers at you and say, but these things you speak about, surely, have you also not been involved? Can we say that?
The only vice I've been involved in court in securing decisions is intimidation. That's the only vice I've been involved in. I've never bribed a judge. I will never bribe a judge.
And you're not planning to start now?
I've intimidated judges for the last 22 years, especially those who are taking bribes or incompetent, and I've gotten my decisions, and I will not stop. I will not bribe. And I must point out one thing that I must resonate with in what you've said. Chacha Mwita. You know, you'll not find blame in Chacha Mwita. Chacha Mwita has ruled against me a time without number. You'll not hear me going to Twitter to make noise, because I know the judge has not been bribed and the judge is not incompetent. So there is something that I missed. And never have I ever appealed against a decision by Chacha Mwita. You understand? Mm-hmm. So the good judges are known. And there's nothing wrong in being a good judge. You'll have a good name like Chacha Mwita. Mm-hmm. You will walk in your village in Kuria without a bodyguard. And everybody will be saluting you. You know, I walk in the streets of Nairobi, just like I am like this. I can't make 500 meters because everybody wants to shake my hand. Mm. That, Mr. President, you're doing a good job. There is pride in a good name. Money will not take you anywhere. When you're done with money, what will you do?
You'll remain with your name.
Exactly. Mm. So we have several good judges. You know, we have Professor Joel Ngugi, who we loved so much at the High Court, but the Court of Appeal loved him more than us. They took him away. We have George Odunga, we loved so much, but the Court of Appeal loved him more than we did. I don't know whether we have any other judge beyond those three. Look, I can tell you without any fear of contradiction, when the day of judgment will come, if at all there is a day of judgment, Chacha Mwita, George Odunga, Joel Ngugi will be told by God, there is a place reserved for you here with Wi-Fi and wine that will not intoxicate you for eternity, books that you will read to your satisfaction. Enjoy life in the hereafter because you are good men when you are on earth. Will it be said of you as Judge Onyango, Omondi, Kamau, Mogaka, Wafula, or Salim? Ask yourself, what do you want? You know, I know one thing. 300 years from now, when even the place I call my home will have been forgotten, my name will still be in the history books of this country.
Books of history.
Yeah.
And Havy, as we've painted the picture of how it is, and the call by LSK, yourself, and Senior Counsel Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi on draining the swamp, getting rid of corrupt judges, the CJ to step down. How do we do this? And how can Kenyans be part of this process?
I think if you come from the village where CJ Martha Koome resides, you need to visit her over the Christmas holiday and tell her, Mama, you've been a disgrace to this country. Please resign. If you worship in the same church with her, tell her, Mama, you've been a disgrace to us. If you are in the same chama with her, tell her, you've been a disgrace to us. If this Chief Justice is your mother, your wife, or your auntie, tell her, you've been a disgrace to us. Please step down. That is the starting point. Let's progress. If a judge or a magistrate is your relative friend or your associate in any enterprise, you're able to know. You're able to tell how they have traveled in their path as judges or magistrates. Tell them, we know you. You've stolen from us. Please, stop embarrassing us. But that said and done, and as we ably stated on the 20th of December, we'll follow the laid down channels, but will not be compartmentalized in those channels. Will raise complaints with the Judicial Service Commission. We know the Judicial Service Commissions will sit on these complaints. We will publicize the complaints. We'll publicize the responses. We'll evaluate the responses and the complaints and tell you these are meritorious. We don't need to waste time before a tribunal trying judge so and so. They have to go home. You get it? And look, did you see the speed with which the tribunal was formed to remove DCJ Nancy Barasa? It was less than 30 days. It was less than 30 days for the formation of the tribunal to remove Philip Tunoi. What is Martha Koome doing sitting on complaints for 6 months, 1 year? You understand? How long did it take to remove Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua from office? Did it take more than a month? No. And the process was undertaken in the National Assembly, the Senate, the High Court, and the Court of Appeal. You see, the impeachment, the removal from office of a holder of a state office of that magnitude is supposed to be a quick enterprise. You understand? A judge who has been receiving 200 million is a very dangerous person. Who are his associates? What measures has he taken to ensure that he suppresses evidence, witnesses? You understand? You can't allow this thing to prevail longer than necessary. As we speak right now, a tribunal ought to have been formed for the removal from office of Justice Alfred Mabea. We're wasting time. It can't. It is unexplainable. And Martha Koome shoulders the greatest responsibility. Chief Justice Dr. William Mutunga will have by now formed a select committee. Chief Justice David Kenani Maraga will have by now formed a select committee. By January, we'll be having a tribunal to investigate Alfred Mabea.
But Havy, there are those who sit and ask, even as I go through those who are listening to us today, they are saying, your issue with the judiciary seems to be a personal matter and not necessarily something that has any basis. What would be your response?
I'm a person. So any issue that I raised is personal. And let me tell you without any fear of contradiction, there is no leader who has succeeded on earth who doesn't have a personal interest. And it's the process of the pursuing the personal interest that you serve the public interest. You understand? And I've said this. When I vied to be president of the Law Society of Kenya, I told lawyers, I don't need you fools. It's you who need me. You know why? Because if I'm disgruntled by a judge, I'll go and deal with the judge in his or her chambers. I will go and seek audience at Spice FM. I'll decimate the judge within 2 minutes. But you can't do it. That's why you need me to go and deal with these issues on your behalf. They will benefit me, and by extension, they'll benefit you. So yes, there is a personal interest. And the interest is this particular judge was paid money to compromise a case, to write a decision contrary to binding decisions of the Supreme Court, making me look like a fool before my client. That will not be allowed.
Have you submitted petitions before the Judicial Service Commission against the CJ, against the judges you're saying? And if at all these petitions are there and these complaints are there, what's the progress?
Very few judges will be bold enough to mess with the matter where Nelson Havy is concerned. I'll also extend the net where Paul Mwite is concerned, where Gibson Kamau Kuria is concerned, where Ahmed Nasir Abdullah is concerned. But these judges, the ones who were sworn in by Martha Koome, they are so shapeless. They're like sheep crossing a road. They don't know that some of us are armed and dangerous when it comes to dealing with judges. You get it? So let me answer your question methodologically. I have removed a judge from office, Justice Mutava. I removed him from office single-handedly. You understand? After Mutava, I said, I will sort my matters the best way I know, because it is costly to remove a judge. You'll be profiled. You'll be dealt with by these judges. They will advise your clients to shun you. That's what happened to me. But it's a small price to pay for the greater good. Understand? By the time we're removing Justice Mutava, it was in 2016. Most of the complaints I've seen, some I just say, let go. I mean, he will meet his Waterloo. But this one was so egregious because I didn't expect a judge to mess up in my matter. I don't take prisoners. My armored personnel carrier only has myself and my driver.
All right. That is a